If we dash quickly into 8th century, in period, Japan, we can see the landowners amass so much wealth that they are no longer controlled and restricted by their government. They don't need the government for protection, infrastructure and all the things the governments provide. Now with their massive amount of wealth they get built their own army, a private army, think Blackwater but with katanas. That is some scary shit. Who now fight and defend against whoever the fuck the landowners want. This powerful landowner later evolves into clans. The section of the land owned by the landowner where people live there are under the landowner's protection. The two most dominant, huge, mighty, clans. The Minamoto and Taira clans invites the government into a truce. In this truce Minamoto clans managed to capture all the flag and gain control of the entire island of Japan, present-day Japan. The Minamoto clan then established a new government, their government, a military-ruled government, where the leader is called shogun. Side note, how to overthrow a government in 3 easy steps. 1. Get wealthy. 2. Get an army. 3. Get into a truce. Anyhow, this style of ruling by military governments lasted 700 years in Japan, with many other small clans popping up here and there. Because of the same reason, the landowners became rich as fuck and got themselves an army. Soon, these small clans begin to get into a truce with other clans too in hopes to achieve what Minamoto clan had achieved. Since they are landowners by profession, to become a better person, logically they need to own more land. Makes sense, right? Japan is now broken into multiple clans at war with each other. During these times samurais are in high demand since every shogun wants an army to poke each other's ass, but in the laws of poking, we know some of those badass samurais are not coming home. So all of the shogun always wants more samurais, increasing the demand of samurais throughout Japan. In these times, we see the people who were once bureaucrats sometimes switch to a more in-demand profession, which now also have a higher status in society. We know the samurais as a warrior who uses a crazy sharp and thin sword called katana. But they also carry a range of ranged weapons, such silent and deadly bows and arrows called yumi, which is 2 meters in length, towering even the archer, and shoot with a screaming arrow. Next, spears called naginata. It is a long pole with a curved blade at one end, which is slower and heavier than their katana, used mainly to poke angry people at war, and some of us might find this strange, but the samurais also carry guns with them. They do live up until the invention and usage of gunpowder days. Another less known weapon used by the samurai is a wakizashi or tanto, a smaller version of a katana. Much like a sidearm for a samurai. Much like a katana, wakizashi serve as a social status for the samurais. Wakizashi is often useful when the samurais are required to leave their katana when they enter a building. Wakizashi is still allowed to be worn. Also, when we see samurais perform seppuku, a ritual suicide or an honorable death, they use this sidearm to disembowel themselves. During the height of shogun power, the Edo period, Japan is once more united. Samurai is now a ruling class in the 15th century. On top of that, samurais are allowed to carry their signature weapon wherever they go, the katana. Not just that, they also are allowed to slice and dice whoever they felt necessary. Another side note, during these time, the samurai title is hereditary, no longer earned. Partly due to this, Japan's ruling system moved into feudal system and there was less conflict during peacetime, hence the name peacetime. Slowly in late 17th century, during Tokugawa shogunate there were less battle fighting for territories. The samurais found themselves in less combat and slowly retire their weapon to earn their money, so you say, and become teachers, bureaucrats and assume other profession. Though the weapon is retired from slashing limbs, their weapon is still carried as a status symbol in Japan culture. Also, the consequences of the peace during the Edo period. There were more and more samurai whose service is no longer needed. Something that never happened before. Because again, the peacetime. This creates a problem of unemployed samurai. Similar with what we have now, but with katana. They are called ronin. Ronin are mainly created when their masters are required by the government to cut down the number of samurais under their belt. Thus ronin was set loose. This unintentionally results in them preying on the defenseless population since they don't have anything to do, creating a problem for the shogun. The samurais then came to a quick end in late 1800, when Meiji Restoration movement launched a coup against the current shogun at that time, Tokugawa Yoshinobu, who was no longer have a firm grip on his lands. There was some resistance made by Tokugawa Yoshinobu in a battle in Shura with the Meiji Restoration faction, which resulted in the shogun defeat and eventually leads to her surrender, marking an end to the military-ruled feudal government.